Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide and the last video of 2025. And boy oh boy, it has been an interesting year to say the least on many fronts. And that is certainly true of the world of ePaper products as well. Earlier this month I've asked you guys to actually chime in and put in your vote to vote from a list of devices that were released in 2025 and let me know what you think was the best device that came out in 2025. So in this video we're going to touch upon that, but also many other categories, and I'm going to share with you my opinion and my experience with the myriad of devices I had the opportunity to test and present to you here on my deep guide. Let's start with the honorable mentions, not particular winners of any specific category, but some devices or developments or things that left an important impression on me and on other users as well in 2025. And the first one in this category that I would list would be the EaseEye RLCD Monitor 2.0. While this monitor certainly is very limited for indoor use, no question about that, it can only be used in certain ideal types of situations. However, the fact that it uses a single USB-C connection to your device and that it's, out of the box working with a mobile phone, a PC, a laptop, a tablet, or anything like that, and all of it is achieved, both signal and power, via one USB-C cable. That makes it a truly liberating type of an experience and device to use in the outdoors. We simply don't have anything like that that offers that level of performance and quality and comfort such as this monitor does. So while it's an extremely niche and a really expensive product, it provides something that you simply can't find anywhere else at the moment, and as such it certainly deserves a mention. Montblanc digital paper, not device, but the fountain pen brush that it has. So really specific mention here. However, that fountain pen brush is probably the best brush and the nicest calibrated and nicest feeling type of a brush that I have tested and used on any of these e-notebook devices. That's not to say that the competition is far away from it. On the contrary, actually the dreaded update 4.1 from Books does bring a fountain pen as well and some new pens, and those do get actually fairly close to what the Montblanc digital paper fountain pen delivers, but not really quite there. Simply the combination of everything on that device, but only that specific thing, makes it really unique and good, and therefore deserving of a mention. It's a shame that it's actually attached to an otherwise, not a great device. And lastly, I would like to mention the Books Go 7 devices, but strictly as e-readers. As e-note-taking devices, unfortunately, they are completely crippled by the fact that they don't support an EMR pen and that they can use only the horrible Ink Sense pen, which is basically borderline unusable. However, that should not automatically disqualify the entire device, because as dedicated e-readers, both the Go 7 black and white versions, they are different. So I do invite you to check out my in-depth review, or I think I called it the definitive review of the Books Go 7 black, white and color Gen 2 versions. They're all slightly different and they all have different kind of strengths and weaknesses. Which suits your needs is going to depend on what your needs are. So I do invite you to watch that video. But overall, as a platform, the Books Go 7, particularly the monochromatic version for me, I think lends itself as a very important and worthy contender for consideration if you're looking for a very versatile and powerful portable e-reader device. And therefore, it is worthy of a mention. Next category is the biggest surprise of 2025, at least for me. And here we have two devices that I would like to mention. The first one would be the iFlytek AI Note 2. I was not really expecting that so late in the year we're gonna have a device that actually becomes fairly important but also fairly controversial. This is not a device that I can wholeheartedly recommend, mainly because, as I mentioned already in the first look of this part here, the AI Note, in order to actually enjoy all of the stuff that this platform offers, it's all locked up behind a mandatory user account, and that user account, whether you like it or not, is going to work with the cloud, and that cloud is going to be a third party. Whether or not it's a third party in China, or it is in Germany, or in US, or anywhere, it doesn't really matter, because all of that stuff is going through somewhere. And then you have an additional thing, which is that iFlytek does have connections to Chinese military and Chinese government by actually having some contracts with these organizations. More on that is going to come in a later video, because I'm still now in the process of gathering data, doing research, and doing due diligence, because once I start talking about that in depth, I want to have facts behind what I'm offering to you. But at this point, what I can tell you is that it's not just a red herring, or at least it doesn't seem like that in this case that it's a red herring. And that is unfortunate, because this device came as a really, really big surprise by how thin it is, how light it is, how functional it is, how well made it is, how powerful it is, the functionalities it has. It's like a whole slew of things that it actually offers out of the blue. But yeah, that surprise works as a both positive and a negative surprise in the case of the iFlytek AI Note 2. The other surprise of 2025, for me at least, is the Dasung 13K line of monitors. Now, while the one that I have reviewed is the 4 Mac version, and that one, unfortunately, you have to go through the absolutely horrendous experience of downloading and installing that software agent. That genuinely is a bad thing. But what I was really, really surprised with was actually how the device functions and what it brings to the table. And the 13K genuinely delivers something very, very new to the table, and that is, for the very first time, for me at least, a 100% usable ePaper display that can just be plugged into your computer and you are good to go. You set the high contrast theme and that's it. You just use it as you normally would use, except that you have the benefits of an ePaper display. That is something that we have not had until the 13K, and that's why it was a big surprise for me. Before we get to the best categories of 2025, first let's cover the biggest disappointments, for me at least, of 2025. And here we have two contenders. In the second place, for me at least, would be the Boox Ink Sense Stylus, the OG one, because since then they've released another one. But the original one that came out with the Go 7 devices was absolutely horrendous. I don't understand genuinely how in 2025 someone was okay with that. That they just went ahead and kind of tested and said like, yeah, there you go, this is fine. It is generally one of the most unusable writing experiences that I've ever had. Now, average, like, off the shelf kind of components and pens that are used for these devices, they're never really that good. So they were really bad on Kobo devices, they're really bad on equivalent other devices that are using these active pens, but somehow the combination of everything on the Go 7, maybe it was accentuated by how good the Go 7 actually is as a device, and then you pair it with something as dreadful as that pen. but the final impression was that basically you can't really use that as it was in its state when it was released. Thankfully, some of the members of the community have found out some workarounds and hacks that if you go into Android developer mode and then you enable some kind of mode thing, it would make it slightly better, but it was never something that you could genuinely claim as, you know, really truly usable. So that's why it's one of the two biggest disappointments of 2025. However, there can only be one major disappointment, and the biggest disappointment of 2025, and for me personally, there's no competition here. It absolutely has to be the Mont Blanc digital paper tablet. From what that device was supposed to be, from the price point, from everything associated with that device was basically, it missed the mark. It simply didn't deliver. That's the reason why it is the biggest disappointment in, for me at least, in 2025 and for quite a few others. And if you're interested, yeah, there's an in-depth review for that as well on mydeepguide, where you can check out in detail why that is so. Next category would be the best platform development of 2025. And here also I narrowed it down to just the two platforms that I believe had demonstrated a significant and impactful developments over the year. And in the second place, it would be the Remarkable platform. In this case, I have Remarkable 2 in my hand, but it applies equally to any of the Remarkable devices because that's what Remarkable does. It's equal across all of the devices that they have. And there are two specific elements that were added in 2025 that I believe have kind of elevated the platform. Overall, I would praise the back to focus that Remarkable has shown in their software development in 2025. 2024 was not a good year for Remarkable development because it was just like all over the place, completely losing the focus of what this platform is supposed to be about. Thankfully, new management second half of 2024, and then in 2025 we actually see the results of that. And while we've gotten quite a few interesting bits and pieces, for example shapes and things like that, for me personally two most meaningful developments is the introduction of Remarkable methods, because it basically adds value to the Remarkable subscription. So now if you are a subscriber, you're actually getting something of value, and it's a practical necessity, unfortunately artificially introduced necessity, because Remarkable is a closed down platform, which means that you can't really just install your own templates for notebooks here. But now with the introduction of methods, yeah, you gotta pay for it with a subscription. The odds are that you're probably gonna be having that subscription anyway if you own a Remarkable device. So that kind of adds value to that. So the Remarkable methods, it's a nice development, but kind of iffy because of the subscription-ish kind of thing. But the most important development here is something that people have been, waiting for years, and that is the search of handwritten content on your Remarkable tablet. So that is a very, very welcome feature and a very, very necessary feature that is long overdue. However, here too, we have that lockdown behind the subscription. So this is also connect only type of functionality, which I don't think is excusable, mainly because it is artificially forced to go through servers, because these devices can do OCR locally, but they chose not to actually go that route. Instead, they send your data to an external server, process it, bring it back into the table, and once it has been indexed, once your notebook has been indexed and done, and that data has been sent back to your device, all of the previous notebooks, you can search them offline. And that is the part that actually brings this feature back from the depths of blehness. While definitely not ideal because you do have synchronization issues, you don't have user experience actually clearly telling you when something is synchronized, when it's not. You can still do a search on a non-indexed notebook and things like that. All the stuff that can be very, very easily made far more elegant and intuitive for a user. So it fails there, but at the very least, it's a significant step in the right direction. And as such, I think that it's an important thing to kind of recognize for a platform as a whole, especially if you take into consideration, the 2024 developments that were really not favorable for the Remarkable platform. So that's why it's in place number 2. And place number 1 should not be a surprise to absolutely anyone, because Supernode platform has introduced not only the server link app, which allows you to connect directly to a privately hosted server folder that can synchronize directly all of your content between your device and that privately hosted folder, so to speak, but actually the entirety of the Supernode cloud service can now be deployed and hosted privately on your own personal server, which is something that is unprecedented. We do not have that kind of ability not only on any of the competitor ePaper devices, we simply do not have an equivalent of that type of functionality almost anywhere else in other commercially widely available products. This is basically revolutionary in today's day and age, where you see push to cloud absolutely everywhere, where you see push to disregarding the privacy concerns, disregarding the safety concerns and all of that kind of stuff. Supernode just goes, nah, we kind of believe in this thing and we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be free. You don't get to pay anything for that absolutely astonishing level of privacy, security, and all of the things that go with something like that. I don't think that you can put a price on that, and I still think that there is no way that I can adequately give enough importance to how big of a development and how important of a development that is. So that makes it clearly very, very easily a winner by a landslide, by a huge landslide in the category of the best of software development of 2025. And now we finally get to the category the best device of 2025, and here I divided it into 2 subcategories. Category number 1 is going to be the devices that you guys have voted for to be the best ones. In place number 3 was the Boox Note Air 5C. Warts and all, plenty of you have voted for this device, so it ended up on place number 3. In the second place was the Remarkable Paper Pro Move. Despite this being a really niche and, quite frankly, overpriced device, quite a few of you have tried it, bought it, and kept it and loved it enough to actually vote for it as the best device of 2025. And it was actually a close call between place number 2 and place number 1 by your votes, but in place number 1 you voted Boox Note Max as the best device that was released in 2025. Now, the second category of the best device of 2025 would be my take and my vote. And for me personally, in place number 3, I would place the Dasung 13K line of monitors because of the things that I've previously mentioned already here in this video. It represents something genuinely new and genuinely real-world usable for users indoors, outdoors, it doesn't really matter. And as such, it's a really, really important and a really good device that was released in 2025. With place number 2, I do agree. I would also put the Remarkable Paper Pro Move on the spot number 2 as the second best device that was released in 2025. And I have absolutely no choice but to double down and completely agree that for me personally, the best device that was released in 2025 has to be Books Note Max. Now, this is not a perfect device at all. It still does have those ghosting issues, albeit some of the users have reported that OS 4.1.1 has finally rolled out to their Note Max devices and that the ghosting has been massively improved. So that would be a very, very positive development, but unfortunately, I don't think that I will be able to cover that for a very simple reason. I use my Books Note Max on a daily basis, literally. I use it every single day in the form of MDO or other notebooks and of course documents processing. As such, I have a really well-established workflow, and this has now become a reliable tool that I just simply use. Unfortunately, OS 4.1, while it may fix the issues that this device has, such as ghosting and maybe some of the other bugs, it also introduces a slew of other truly unwelcome changes that would completely disrupt and in some cases destroy my established workflow. And now I find myself in a situation where I can't really update because I am using this device for real every single day, and I can't afford to lose that usability because of the horribleness of the OS 4.1. So I can't really verify that. Hopefully other users who don't really depend on these issues and who are not impacted by the changes of the OS 4.1 will be able to maybe attest and confirm if the OS 4.1 has fixed that ghosting issue. But back to the point in hand, just the very fact that I've used this device from early January 2025 and I'm now still using it at late December 2025 every single day. Since ghosting issue and some other minor platform bugs that Books OS does have, I have had zero issues with this device, and I've been able to rely on it so much so that I'm willing to choose to stay behind with the OS updates and stuff like that, just so that it can stay as it already is. Because as it already is, it's still the best ePaper tablet device that I have ever owned. And it keeps staying that. The wider discussion of, Books' behavior and am I logged down now to OS this? Yeah, sure, we can have that discussion. But none of that changes the fact that this is a tool that I can confidently rely on every single day in an entire year, and hopefully in the coming years as well. And that's why the decision for me at least was extremely simple, and the Books Note Max is the best device that was released in 2025. So there you go. Tell me please, what do you think about all of these categories that I've already mentioned, and about the arguments, counter-arguments, agreeings, disagreements, or things like that? I am really, really interested to hear about your take and your perspective on these devices and the whole 2025 as far as ePaper development is concerned. Thank you so much for the support and for watching My Deep Guide in 2025. I wish you a very, very happy new year, peaceful and a healthy new year. I hope that you're able to share your smiles, hugs, loves, and good meals with the ones that you love around you. Have a happy new year and see you in 2026. Bye!